This is Athena Jezik. Today I thought we would also work on the neck from the face down. I haven't shown, I don't think, very many videos of working the neck face down. I've worked a lot of it neck face up. And the way that it ties into the shoulders, there's a lot of neck pain. I also see a lot of neck pain. Probably the biggest amount of problems that I see are neck, shoulder, and low back. That's what people seem to be suffering with the most. There's other issues like, ankles and arms and broken arms and that kind of thing. But we're going to work on the areas today that are more popular as far as pain goes. And so I'm going to just be working in the neck area, and then I'll show you how to tie it into the shoulders. So again, I'm using the True Hemp Science lotion, oil lotion, which I think is really nice. So I need to take that down into the end of the trapezius. You want to take a look at the muscles and how they tie up into the neck. So here's the trapezius, and you want to just bring that all in because that does tie in up to the neck, the origins and insertions. So it has a lot of places where it attaches, but we're going to be watching mostly at the neck area. So when I do the neck face down is I'll start up at the hairline, or it's also the base of the skull, and rub my thumbs across just very lightly, but just to see how that is attaching. Sometimes there's a lot of bumps, or it's very, 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 very tight. So you want to just test that and just kind of see. It's kind of making these assessments. And right around the corner, the hands will curve around the corner. Well, it's not really a corner, but from the neck over to the shoulders, it feels like you're going around a corner. Now when you're working somebody, you want to make sure that you're not pulling their hair, because that's not comfortable. And sometimes people may need to have maybe a towel or something there, but I find that sometimes is a little bit more cumbersome to work. So I'm just going to go down here in this upper thoracic area and just stretch out a little bit here. Now this is also getting a little bit into the shoulder area, but again, I'm focusing on mostly the neck, where it is attaching to the neck. Here's the end of the trapezius, and so I'm going to ride this back up, and I can feel that there's more tension on the right hand side. And bring it back up here. Here's a little issue right here. Feels a little bit of it's not really a subluxation, but there's maybe a little twist in that vertebrae. Not enough to where it's bothering her. Okay, and then you can take your fingers and just run down the sides of the neck, kind of a cross fiber friction from the vertebrae down along. Now remember that a little more to the front of that you have the carotid artery, and you have the lymph nodes and all kinds of things going on there. So you want to be very delicate when you get around toward the front of the neck. Now you can come up here closer to the ear as well, along these cranial bones, and just feel how that is working. Just bringing it up, just pulling it up. Now, there's not a lot of pressure here. The muscles are letting me go in as deep as they want it. And then we'll do that same thing over here, so you can probably be a little more difficult to see, but you can kind of see what we're doing along that ear, or it's still the occiput, but it's getting closer to the temporal bone. And just glide those fingers up. And then stretching just through the neck here, in that area. You know, there's nothing worse than a stiff neck. And the thing about the necks is I still really don't have it figured out, because the neck muscles, they do different things because there's so much range of motion. And to me, some of the things that the muscles are shortening, they should be lengthening. It's just a puzzle. So I have to definitely depend on what I'm feeling, because when I look at the anatomy and I see what direction they're going, and it looks like the muscle should be flexing when it's extending, it just makes my mind boggle a little bit. So I just follow the muscles and not worry so much about which muscle is doing what and all of that. Just follow where the problem is, and right in through here is where the real tension can begin. There's a levator scapula muscle that is from the scapula, which comes up and it comes into the vertebrae here, and this is where a lot of tension is oftentimes shown. There was a little jump there, which is a little crepitus. Crepitus, nobody really knows what crepitus is. It feels like it's just kind of crunchy stuff. And sometimes crepitus can be worked out and sometimes it can't. And I get a sense that it's probably also working with another muscle that's underneath it. So just little movements of the thumb back there, and then coming up to the neck again. And then you can take the hands and kind of knead it. It's more of a kneading action where you're just pulling up with that on the neck, stretching that out, which feels nice. And you can do the same thing. The reason you'd want to do the same thing on the other side is because the thumbs are a different feel than the fingers. And be careful of the hair. Okay. And then we'll just do some circular motion. And that feels like it's worked itself out quite a bit. Now you can come up and do a little kneading real close into the neck here. Yeah, the neck and shoulders are quite closely related. They work together somewhat. So you can see how I'm just pulling that muscle up. And then the same thing on the other side. Just kind of pull that up. And it's a little bit of a pinch, but not really a tight pinch. It's just kneading. It's more of a kneading kind of movement. And then you can take the fingers and put them under the base of the skull and put the other hand below at the neck area here, which is about C7. C7 is that kind of a more bulgy feeling of the vertebrae, and just hold that and then just pull a little traction there. It's just a little traction. Again, this is more of a subtle technique, so there's things going on under the hands that would have to be learned to know exactly how to follow that, because it's very active when it's stretching. It has a lot of different movements in a lot of different directions, and so to follow that, it takes a little bit more practice with your hands. And then I just felt a release up under the skull, at the base of the skull, with this traction. The palm of the hand is involved as well, so that's important. And you can also lay the hand on the head, which will give even more of a traction and more movement with that occiput. And that feels real good. It's got a lot of unwinding going on. So she's had a pretty active neck in the last little bit. And now it feels, there's a lot of activity going on where it's attached kind of at the base of the skull, but also a little bit underneath the skull. And that's where the cranial base release will release those attachments. So there we go. That feels good. And this whole area is much softer now. So this is really working primarily from C7 up, but you do get down a little bit into the first few thoracic muscles, and you can take it down to the end of the trapezius. Okay, so there we have it. There's the neck. So I hope you enjoyed that little piece and got something out of it. So be sure to like and share and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. I want to invite you to explore my course, The Foundations of Subtle Alignment. It is going to take you beyond the work of massage therapy. It will take you into the world of the subtle anatomy. Misalignment of the subtle structures is often the root cause of chronic pain, injuries, and chronically high levels of stress hormones. These techniques offer profound benefit whether you are working on people with complex issues or not. In this course, you will learn about the subtle anatomy and a protocol for assessing and aligning the subtle structures.